thanks everyone for coming. So let me just read the little paragraph here. It says, hear from the world's top retailers and strategists about what startups need to do to get above the noise online and on the shelves to get the numbers they need to make consumer product businesses work. So what we're going to do is first we'll go through and have them introduce themselves. The most important thing is where they live, so that way you know how to stalk them. So where they live and what their job title is, and then what they actually do. So we can do that. And then after that, we'll just get into making sure that we answer the paragraph so that you get what you want.
Great. All right, I'll get started. My address is 920, oh, just kidding, but I live in San Francisco. I work for Hacks. I assume most people have heard of Hacks. We're the world's largest and first hardware accelerator. I run our San Francisco-based program, which helps B2C and B2B hardware startups launch in the market. So we work with companies whose products are ready to launch. We run a program in Shenzhen, China that helps companies actually create product. So we kind of have the zero to many across our two major programs. Prior to that, I spent a little over 3 years with Target Corporation. I've spent over $500 million of Target's money on product, including running the IoT business. So I'm very familiar with bringing products to market, as is the rest of this wonderful group.
So Target brought us these chairs, right?
These look like Target chairs.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
the Pantone is the correct
Yes,
red. So
that's right. Okay.
yes.
So I'm John Kenelly, Director of Partnerships for Beta. So my job is working with the most innovative products in the world, helping them come to market through our retail showrooms. So I've got, I think, one of the best jobs in the world. All I do all day is see awesome demos of great products and help them find placement in our stores.
Excuse me?
I'm Jenna Sandvik. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I lead strategic initiatives on the Amazon Launchpad team. So we specifically work with startups to help them launch, market, and deliver their products to Amazon customers.
I'm Dan Feld. I lead the Launchpad, the Google Launchpad program that helps startups be successful on the Google platform and in general here in the United States. And with background both in IT and in enterprise sales, both for Google, Amazon, and other companies.
Okay, so for each one of you, I assume people are approaching you all the time to get into your particular programs on your platforms, so why don't we just get to that first? So if they want to get to you or get on your platform or be part of your Launchpad things, what do they need to do?
For us, they simply apply to one of our programs, and oftentimes we're looking for defensible technology, a good team, and a gut check of products we think will change the market and or sell. But yeah, mostly applying. I'll say events are a way that we meet a lot of our companies, so I'm always scouting for great teams to invest in at places like this.
And is there a particular product that you focus in or really like?
I couldn't pick a favorite.
But the company though, it's across the board.
It's about connected technology. So
Connected
we're looking
technology.
for hardware, connected hardware.
Okay.
I feel like I'm just going to keep saying what Kate said every time. Very similar with us. Products can sign up on our website to learn more, and then we'll contact them, basically understand where the product's at in its life cycle. Is it ready for production? Do they have units? Is it too far out? We'll get a demo of the product either in person or get a sample shipped to us, assess the product. For us, kind of runs the gamut. We have 4 general categories, but we do everything from smart home devices to electric bikes and electric skateboards and kind of everything in between. So, if it's innovative, really that's the #1 criteria. Are people's eyes going to light up when they come into to our stores? And if they are, then it's probably something that we're interested in. So. Going to beta.com is kind of that first step, but obviously events are big for us as well, and stalking me definitely works too. I live in San Francisco, which I didn't say before. So.
And so the product, they have to have a tangible product.
Yeah, so I mean, our first store opened in December 2015, and because our model is a little bit different and we don't require inventory like a normal retailer, we put a lot of prototypes out at first. We said, well, our model's different. We can showcase prototypes, and so that seemed like a really good idea. But a good example of why maybe it wasn't is one of the first products we ever had was the Lily flying camera. I think most people probably know what happened with Lily. Not a great story there. So we want to now focus on things that are just coming to market. So we want to be the first store that ever carries the product, but it needs to be in production and ready for units for consumers to buy.
So for us, we really focus on working with funding partners. So it's about if you've been funded by a venture capital firm that we partner with, been in an incubator or accelerator that we partner with, Hacks is one of our great partners, or ran a successful crowdfunding campaign. That's kind of the first bar to be in our program. And then you need to be a physical good. It can be a consumable product, apparel, but right now we don't support software or books really in our program. And then we want you to be 30 days from shipping to end customers, meaning if you did run a crowdfunding campaign, you've shipped to those backers ahead of time.
And is there a certain place that they go?
Yeah, so from AmazonLaunchpad.com, there's a section that says in the right-hand corner, "Are you a startup?" And if you click there, you can actually apply to our program, and if you qualify, we'll reach out within 7 business days.
So the Google Launchpad program is a global one, and we operate a little bit different between regions. But in the United States, we usually work through partners. Partners are accelerators or any type of organizations that usually work with startups for the long run, and we partner with them to accelerate that and to help with our resources, knowledge, mentorship, etc. Just maybe a piece of advice regarding your question. So I think that in many cases, startups and founders are under so much weight in terms of trying to find help and resources that they hear brand names like Amazon or Google or others, and you immediately find yourself wanting something that you not necessarily know is it what you want. So careful what you wish for is very important in these things. My advice is to really understand what is the program that you're approaching. Amazon may have many startup programs from different parts of the case, same as Google and other companies. So the first thing that you may want to do is really speak to the person, understand where they're coming from, what's the type of business that they're trying to accelerate or support, and see if that's the right fit for you. Because you may find yourself benefiting from that program, or you may find yourself actually wasting your time trying to enter a program that is not the best for you. And that's very common. So just an inside view of that.
And I think that's why the two of you in particular, Amazon and Google, you partner with other programs.
Exactly.
Because you want someone to have gone through a program or be part of a program that helps them figure stuff out before they come to you.
And I actually think that these partners, the accelerators, some of the VCs, and other organizations are actually much better than us in the everyday long-term work with the startup, with the long-term follow-up, where we can get in and help with the specific resources and knowledge that we have. And this partnership can really benefit everyone.
And that's how you work with Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Amazon's been a great partner for us, and we always say, as a little bit of context, when our companies are launching a product, a B2C product that would sell to consumers in the wild, as we call it, meaning not direct, the first place to start is always a platform such as Amazon, and that's only when they're really ready for that, but that is step number one. When they're ready to start selling, when they're ready to provide amazing customer service, that's the first step. So we've struck up a really great partnership to get our companies pretty great access to advice and help when they're ready for that.
Okay, and maybe, I don't know if all of you have experience with like Kickstarter or crowdfunding type platforms. Maybe you want to talk about your experience and how someone starts with that and then they end up in your program.
Yeah, I can start with that. We actually just put a piece on TechCrunch on essentially how to launch a product on Kickstarter, which is a pretty comprehensive view of everything that we've learned in the past 5 years of running campaigns. We've had, I believe now, 10 over $1 million campaigns. 90% of our campaigns are over $100,000. We've had over 70 successful campaigns, so we've kind of become a force of nature with Kickstarter. And we always see that as a step in between our program in Shenzhen and our program here in San Francisco. So once a team has a final prototype, they know they can actually manufacture that product. Kickstarter is a phenomenal tool, or Indiegogo, to actually launch that product and get funding without taking on additional VC dollars. And then let's say 6 months to 9 months later, once they've shipped those early backers, gotten feedback, improved the product, and started to set up sort of a real company with operations, The next step is thinking about who they're going to sell it to. And that's where we come in San Francisco, and to work with all of our great partners to help those teams actually go to market and create demand for the product.
Yeah, I think for us, we've obviously worked with a ton of companies that are either during their Kickstarter or fresh off of Kickstarter. And I think some of the early, Kickstarter campaigns that raised tens of millions of dollars, and there were some, the Coolest Cooler is one that I think of that raised 13 million or something, and I don't even know if they ever shipped all those units. But I think companies that make mistakes and think, I'm going to start a Kickstarter, bootstrap the company, and we're going to be good to go, without knowing how much tooling costs, how much it's actually going to cost us to make this product. I think if you think that your company is just going to be born out of Kickstarter and kind of go from there, I think that's the mistake that companies make. I think Kickstarter and Indiegogo are awesome for marketing and awareness for the product. So I think that's the mindset that companies should take in going into those types of campaigns, because it's an awesome way to get your brand out there. Tons of people see products. I mean, that's where a big place where my team goes to look for products is, Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So I think just making sure you're not, betting your whole business on a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign. I think that's where some of the perils come in, but I mean, they're great platforms for kind of the awareness and marketing side.
Yeah, I think for us, early on, we didn't have strong requirements for our program around like when you came into our program after running a crowdfunding campaign. And we very quickly realized that we needed to make that a program requirement, that you needed to ship to your backers first, get that feedback, and come to Amazon when you'd fulfilled that promise. Because the thing about Amazon is you can write a review on Amazon even if you haven't purchased the product there. So if a backer has been waiting for several months for a product and then sees that someone can buy it and get it in 2 days, they're not going to be very happy. So we now require all of our companies to ship to their backers first. And we think Kickstarter and Indiegogo are great tools to use, because then you can leverage those backers to come and support you on Amazon, and you can get great feedback and make sure you're ready for that review environment. So it's been great now that we're kind of have a strategy for the timing of that launch.
So we see, we usually come in and talk about the business. Actually, David, you are a mentor, one of our great mentors in the program. And when we speak with many early stage startups, I just counted before I came this morning, I think that only this month we had 9 different countries, origin countries represented in the program here in San Francisco. And we ask very simple questions. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? Who is the customer? What is the solution for that customer? And what proof do you have that all the answers for these 3 questions are actually correct? Very simple questions. And we see that early stage startups from Indonesia or from the United States with 0 funding or $300,000 in the bank have a hard time to answer these questions.
So repeat the questions again.
So what's the problem you're trying to solve? Who is the customer for that? Who is the target customer that you're trying to solve for? And what is the exact solution that you think that will solve that problem for that customer? And what proof do you have that everything you just said is correct? By the way, proof is sometimes pick up the phone and call 30 target customers and verify and validate what they say is what you think they should say. And you see amazing things cross-border. People that grew up in the United States, maybe more exposed to entrepreneurship and business than other countries, still don't have specific, accurate, validated answers for these questions. And then, just picking up on what John said, if you go to Kickstarter, the question is, why are you doing this? What's the connection between your mission and your goals to action items? Going to Kickstarter is an action item. You need to break it down from the mission with a lot of how questions until you get to an action item. And if one of the action items that will serve your goals is Kickstarter, then great. But that's not a top level, that's not a goal, that's an action item. And that, I think, is one thing that we're all working on to try to kind of sort out for entrepreneurs.
Okay, so then the next thing, and then maybe we'll open up to questions, is so how do you know who your customer is? Because we're talking about marketing to customers. So how do I know who my customer is?
It's a great question. Actually, I loved what you were saying about understanding what, who are you selling to, why do they need it. I think a lot of the times we encounter, as hacks, we encounter teams who have created a product based on a technology they were familiar with. Maybe they learned how to use an accelerometer and they decided to make something that was trackable that didn't do anything people wanted. And so they weren't answering those questions. And they apply then to one of our programs and we kind of say, who will buy this? What problem do you think you're solving? Because at the end of the day, in a B2C setting and a B2B setting, if the problem isn't solving a solution that needs to be solved, no one will buy it. There's simply no market for it. So we get pretty obsessive about cohort marketing. So finding people, little communities of people somewhere on the internet who might be the first early adopters and who will eventually be your evangelists when your product launches. And I'm yet to see a massively successful product that didn't start with that when they were ready to launch.
So definitely finding your influencers and getting them excited.
Finding them right away, engaging them, and getting their feedback. And sometimes that means doing house visits to see how they use your product, or doing factory visits to see how they're engaging, and then making tweaks based on that, because those are the people who are going to be your early users. And if you don't harness that, you're not going to move anybody else through the funnel.
I mean, for us, we're sort of that bridge between crowdfunding, pre-orders, and mass retail. So for us, a lot of times it's, okay, we had a massively successful pre-order campaign, but a lot of times those companies really saturate their early adopter market. So with us, they figure out, okay, how do I figure out, Tom and Mary off the street what they think of my product? So what we do a lot of times is we just train our staff and we change the pitch for the product on a weekly, monthly basis. So understand what's resonating with people, and really it comes down to that for a lot of our products that maybe had a very technical, early adopter focused early pitch that sold them tens of thousands of units. But now if you want to sell millions of units, you have to change the way you talk about the product. Right. And the way that we do that is through that pitch from our beta testers in store, but also we have digital messaging in store that we let them update on a regular basis to figure out, okay, what are the images, what's the copy, what are the videos that are actually resonating with kind of mass consumers. So we're doing a lot of just experimenting with that because it's that next step after you've sold to your first 10,000 rabid fans of the product, basically.
So where do people go to see the different products?
Yeah, so we have 3 locations right now: Palo Alto, Santa Monica, Seattle. We also have 3 shop-in-shop locations here in California that are inside of Lowe's stores. The closest one here would be in Livermore. We have 2 in Southern California as well. And then we're opening stores in Austin and San Francisco over the next couple months.
And just real quick, walk us through the experience. If I go to a Lowe's, what's the experience like?
Yeah, absolutely. So you walk into one of our stores, you won't see a single box or package out. So everything is out of its packaging, powered on, ready to be demoed and experienced. We have highly trained staff that are able to basically be an extension of the manufacturer of all the products. They're there to give demos and really provide a hands-on experience, as if you're a hardware maker, as if you open your own store, right? We kind of treat our store as a mini flagship for 150 different products.
So in San Francisco, they change all the time, but there's that Target, what was it? At the Metro and Target, they have that kind of
open
house.
That's her baby.
Yeah. So that place is amazing. Yeah. So it's the idea you go in. And,
I wish you would have said oh, that's terrible, because then
I wouldn't have said anything.
No, but you go in and they got the basketball and you can bounce it and it counts and it changes all the time though. It'd be nice if it was always open, But
I'll let them know.
Yeah, but maybe talk about that and then we'll keep going. But tell about the Target store, open house.
The store that I'm assuming a lot of people here have been to. It's just been kind of an attractive place for people who are interested in B2C consumer startup tech. It's a lot of the same ideas as Beta without some of the customer information gathering, which I think Beta has done really, really well. But it's basically a showcase for products that are possibly not ready for full chain Target stores, but are definitely ready to show to the public and start getting a little bit of early traction. So it's sort of Target's testing ground for IoT. And they just opened a new space in the back of that store called The Garage, which is a little more inspired by Beta, with spots for prototypes where people can give feedback and engage with the products in a way that cycles back to the founders to make some updates.
Yeah, it's really cool because you can go in and typically the products they have, you can just buy it right then on the spot. and it's fun. Instead of like going online, looking at it, not sure, you know? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so for us, it's pretty similar kind of to what John was saying, is like helping startups really go from that maybe like technical and evangelist group of customers to like mass distribution. How do we tell our brand story to those mass customers? I think at Amazon Launchpad, we've worked really hard to create kind of a template for that content and then turn it over to the startups to tell their brand story within that template. So all of the startups in our program have access to kind of a different template that's unique to our program. It has a section on the page that's about the startup. It's a really clean experience, leads with video content. So we want those brands to control the brand message and kind of iterate from there. And we're doing a lot of work on our end to understand who's the Amazon Launchpad customer and how do we effectively drive traffic to our storefront to surface our startups to more people. So.
And on your platform, you obviously know who the influential people are, right? Like super reviewers or whatever, right? You can reach out to them.
Leverage those people. All of our startups get access to reviews from those kind of influencer type people, and then we invest in driving traffic to that storefront externally as well. So we're investing a lot in trying to understand like who are these early adopters and what gets them excited. And we've been very surprised by what that is. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
It's actually very similar to what everybody said. I can just give an example. One of the programs that we have is the Google Launchpad Start, which actually tackles this problem of companies that are doing great things. They have more than an idea. They're actually working on something. But the pitch, the message, the exact target, the understanding of who are the potential B2B partners that can take you there is a lot of questions that you need to figure out. So one of the programs is that we take the startups and for a week kind of cut it through different skills. So going through an analysis phase using business canvas methodology, for example. The second day is really drill into the product and the strategy, UI UX. And when I'm saying UI UX, I don't mean how the app is looking like, but the definition of persona and really giving tools, basic tools to actually analyze your own status. And then marketing and growth and engineering aspects. All of this is the agenda is kind of cut through the different aspects and help float, analyze, and come to the end of the week with specific actionable items. Because what we see that in many cases, people keep analyzing and doing actions at the same time. And at a certain point, you have to kind of set an action plan and run through it. If you keep questioning every part of what you're doing every week, and yes, it has some gamble into it, but it should be educated gamble using the tools that everyone has been discussing, then you will never get to be focused at the customers. And this is what you need to be focused at. And one more thing that I wanted to mention is the word platform. What do you do? We are a platform for. So this is one of the things that we see that, because a platform is a good word, but it means a lot of different customer flows, a lot of different solutions targeted at a lot of different type of customers. So even if it's a good idea to build this platform, do you have what it takes in terms of resources and focus to actually build different solutions to different customers at the same time and maintain them at the same time? Probably not. So part of the gamble that should be very educated gamble is actually to understand that if you want to build a platform that serves a certain wide area of solution for a wide area of customers, you need to choose. And you need to choose going through these type of processes and tools to take this educated gamble, but then run to it and do your best selling it.
Well, I think it's just like anything in life. You just have to actually eventually do it, right? That's because you can go through all your programs.
Exactly.
You could stall out
keep
and just
analyze.
right? Just keep hanging out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do people have questions? If you do, there's a microphone here, so you want to use that, so that way it's recorded for the rest of your life. So just come up and use the microphone, please. It looks like you're harnessing a lot of power from all. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a great question, I can tell.
You can read his mind over Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's Eventually, it's going to be a hat where it's a mood hat. We're going to add LEDs that change color based on thought patterns. Anyway, so I'm a 3D printer, and I've heard a lot about taking a product and getting feedback on it. But for kind of a hardware as a service industry, where do you really see a lot of those customers or finding market research or my main issue is order generation. I know the orders are out there, it's just finding them. Is it just a simple matter of, say, starting up an AdWords campaign and trying to get customers that way?
Yeah, I would say you definitely can't not do that, right? So if you aren't pouring money into digital marketing and testing what your response rates are for different campaigns, and if you don't have a dashboard for that, then you're probably missing customers right there. We always say to startup teams, as long as you have at least 2 people and 1 engineer who maybe has more time once you're done with the product, put that engineer on growth hacking. Okay. It tends to actually be a skill set that most engineers can pick up phenomenally well. And it's often a really good use of personnel. Put that person onto creating a dashboard and spending $50 a day finding out who is buying the product and just attacking those cohorts with different images and taglines until you get down to a rate where it's worthwhile continuing to market to that group and then expanding from there. So yeah, digital marketing might be the key to what you're looking to do.
Perfect, thank you.
Anyone? You don't all have to answer, but if you have anything else you want to add.
So for us, one of the things out of Amazon Launchpad that we realized is how can we add value to our startups outside of when they're ready to launch a physical good or if they don't have a physical good. So we do have like a service network for startups to reach out to service providers. I'd encourage you to look into being a service provider on that network. It's called Services Hub. You can Services Hub, AmazonLaunchpad.com.
Service and setup?
Services Hub. So we connect
Services Hub.
startups to manufacturing, prototyping, funding, sales and marketing, and operations resources. So.
Killed it, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, so I'm Gandharv. We make biking safer with Aster, the world's safest cycling bag.
The world's safest what?
Cycling backpack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cycling backpack,
Okay.
yeah? All right.
Yeah. So my question is...
But how is it the world's safest?
Oh, okay. So it sort of improves visibility and predictability. It has inbuilt indicators, brake lights, and crash detection.
Got it.
So I'm also pitching today evening, so
I could wear it when I'm not cycling, and I'll be the world's safest walker, too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Trip and fall, you'll be good to go.
Yeah. So my question refers to the move from online to offline, right? So at least at this stage, like we had a product in November, and there's a lot of difference from the November product to say the May product because you iterate as a startup, right? And you change the versions, right? So what kind of product stability is important to have when you say approach a retailer like Target, and how do you time that, or is it just better to sell online until your product is entirely stable, right? Where you don't make modifications based on customer feedback as frequently.
Okay, so the question is, how long do you sell online before you switch to selling direct to consumer at a store, retailers?
When you even start the process, because that's fairly time intensive going offline.
Okay.
That's not true. Just come to a beta store. Just put in a beta store. It's a 5-minute setup online, and then you're in a store in a couple weeks. So that's the answer to your question.
But that's your model, right? Your model is, hey, you're online, you're doing well, you want to try retail, go to a beta store.
It is, yeah. I mean, we're an offline retailer that was built. Our CEO is a software guy. He wanted to make retail run as smoothly as setting up a website or selling online. So
okay.
that's really.
But then the real question is though, how much online traction or sales does you have to have before you go to retail?
I mean, for us, it's right after your pre-order campaign ends and you've shipped to those backers. We're selling it, the next day.
But let's say someone doesn't do a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and but they've been selling. How many do they need to sold, or is there some kind of magic formula?
Honestly, there really isn't for us. It's if we think it's like I mentioned earlier, if we think it's something that is gonna make people's eyes light up, and it's something that people have
it
never
has
seen
lights
before.
on it.
So there you go. I guess
eyes
that's
would light up,
But yeah, honestly, it's really, we're all about experimenting and getting feedback. So we definitely want to we say yes a lot more often than we say no, because we want to learn and we kind of learn together basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I would say from a big box perspective, there's never a moment where it's like, oh, I've sold 6,000 units on my website. This is the perfect moment to go into brick and mortar. Exactly. Unfortunately, the path is more if you want to achieve volume and you're clearly getting customer feedback that shows that you're going to be able to expand to far more people than just your early backers. Then you start thinking about what would be in it for the retailer and what retailer will have the right customers for my product so that once your product lands on the shelves, you'll be able to drive sell-through. And driving sell-through is up to you. And that's where brand building and marketing is very, very, very important. So I would say from what we've seen, what I've seen from launching over 100 startups on behalf of Hacks, it's the moment when your Amazon sales start to be really good and they're just going up and up and up every week. And there's clearly a great fit between the marketing you're doing and the customers you're finding, and you're in a spot where you can also financially create the inventory to work with a big box retailer. And then again, it's about finding the right attributes of your product that fits that retailer's customer profile. So for a retailer like Target, my former employer, that would be tech-savvy, busy families who want products that make their life easier and less expensive. So if you have a product that appeals to any part of that, then great. It's time to start thinking about how you can appeal to that retailer to sell your product.
And then what would you say for Amazon?
Yeah, so come to Amazon when you feel confident that you can have a product that's going to be well reviewed. And then in terms of iterating, like it's great to launch a V2 of your product, but every time you have a UPC change, you do have to create a new product page on Amazon and start over on reviews and search relevance. So we refer to it a lot internally at Amazon as the flywheel, right? So you have all of those things working in your favor. You have good reviews, you have high search relevance, your sales are climbing, and you change that product and you change the UPC, you have to start that process over again. So it's better
to, like you can, it's better, what's the best path then?
Yeah, come to Amazon when you have a product you're confident will get good reviews and customers will like, and then iterate on that product when it's truly going to be like the launch of something new to it, right? Like don't make a UPC change for a tiny tweak. Do it for something that's like worthy of relaunching.
Yeah, thanks.
Good. Yeah. Any other victims? Okay. Yeah.
Hi. We're actually a startup from China, and we're actually quite clear with our target. We're sitting right at the corner. It's a movie device. It looks like a VR, but it's only designed to watch movie. And I think we have a similar situation as any other startups facing. How do we get to launch our product? Of course, we have two opportunities at this moment as one of the crowdfund platform, and although at the meantime we got the VC program, so I would like to take this opportunity to ask for a startup like us, when we're facing both opportunities, and what kind of advice that you would like to give?
So you're looking at, do you get money from VCs or do you do crowdfunding? Is that kind of the choice?
We would like to hear the pro and con from both sides, because we are actually standing in this edge to figure it out.
Why? Yeah, I think I know what we all think. So I'll just ask, why do we need? Can you elaborate on why do we need another movie device? I have 300 tablets, 200 phones, 600 TVs at home.
I do understand that, because I think...
By the way, it would be great to embed it in your initial pitch, because if you didn't, you kind of raised a lot of questions at everybody's heads that you could avoid.
Well, I just try to short it. The conventional VR has so many developers around the globe, but none of them has got really matured. So do the Oculus, so do the HTC Vive. Yeah. But we try to narrow down our target only for movie lovers. And then we would like to bring a 4 times sharper image than any VR devices in the market at this moment. And we don't want to confuse our target group. It's just to watch movies.
So it's for cinephiles, right? So not the people like Cinnabon, but the people that like...
Here's why I asked the question. The question was not to embarrass you. The question was to clear out what the value proposition, because that will imply to what's the best program for you. And let me just elaborate a little bit more. VR is extremely cool, but nothing that was proved to generate revenue. However, we are in a position where, I mean, Hitchcock did it in the 60s, but now it's actually a platform that the major vendors are investing in, right? Sony, Google, others, Facebook through Oculus, etc. So you have today a variety of huge vendors offering the platform. So I would think that if somebody wants to, if I was a VC, for example, I would think that if somebody wants to innovate there, he will build on the platforms of the big guys, right, and innovate there, because the big guys doesn't want to be on the customer side right now. They want to offer the platform for developers such as you to innovate on top of it. If you say no, I want to be on the basic level and compete with the big guys, then we need to understand why. You need to understand why before you even think who can help you, because that would be very specific type of market players that we want to work on that with you.
And I think part of that is that okay, if you're going to go for a very niche market, then maybe VC, maybe crowdfunding is more appropriate, right? If you're very, very niche, maybe crowdfunding.
Which
but if
may also validate the end customer willing to adopt it.
Yeah, you say, hey, it's a $10,000 television, and you get enough people to pre-order it, then you validated it, right? Versus go to a VC, then what's the growth strategy to pay them back, right?
Yeah, and if it was easy enough where you could just choose Kickstarter or VC, I don't know what my hacks teams would generally pick, but they'd probably just take the money, right?
Yeah.
Without having to go through the campaign problems.
Well, I mean, we kind of figure out what we want to take first, but I mean, actually maybe on the other side, as we are actually launching our what you call prototype testing feedback.
Right.
And we bought our prototype here that you can actually see the image. So, I mean, any of you sitting here, more than welcome to give us your feedback, and we're right down the corner there.
As long as it makes me look good.
Thank you.
That's all most important.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? I was right when I said victims. So.
I've got a quick question. So, Kate, you said something I never heard before, where you'd said that engineers seem to do very well at marketing. Yeah. I had never heard that.
I know, it's shocking. It is. I would say if you separate marketing out into a few different things and you remove the content and social part, the rest of it, the digital growth hacking part of it, engineers are spectacular at, in my experience.
Yeah, because people think about it. If you're sitting there coding and you like data and you like numbers and you like analyzing things, you're gonna just, if you go into Google Analytics dashboard, or all the dashboards,
or all the tools on top of it.
Yeah, whatever. You're gonna start finding all kinds of cool stuff, and you're gonna get addicted.
Yep.
Okay, so my question was then, so yeah, I'm an engineer, okay, and my company's succeeding despite my marketing efforts, because what I've done is anti-marketing. I think I've just confused customers. So would you say I should first learn how to do this with driving traffic to my own website using Google AdWords, because that analytics platform is so good, or should I hone that before I go off and work with
into Facebook or something else?
Yeah, and or I don't know what else other than Facebook, but regardless. Do you think it makes sense to hold off on working, let's say, with Amazon Launchpad before I kind of figure out master that marketing? Because
I would say for at least a brief period of time, so that at least you know what customers you're going after. And it's kind of, you're almost putting the chicken before the egg if you don't do some of that first, because you need to know that you are creating customers, shipping a product that works, and that you've got the right messages. And if you don't do that first, it will be tough to get good reviews on Amazon. And I've seen normally that might be a few months for a startup, and it would be the period maybe right after you've shipped all your early backers. You spend maybe 30 to 60 days generating orders from the wild of people who aren't your early backers, who will not forgive you if there's problems. And use really, get innovative with your marketing to attract those customers, fix any glitches you may have, and then start thinking about Amazon.
Yeah, and I'd say we've done a great job of making a template for you to put the great information into, but if you don't know the words that customers are using to search for your product, we can try to optimize that content, but if it's not the right content, they're not going to find it.
Well, I think also, so at Google Launchpad, what happens is people come in and they say, well, this is our idea, this is our audience, and over the course of, it depends on the program you're in, but over the course of even a day or a week, everything is upside down. Is that?
It's true, because mentors like you, that we kind of helping you kind of sort things out and try to at least prioritize. And I think that what Kate said about the $50, I think it's excellent methodology here, because spending $50 on Google, on Facebook, whatever you think that may, and being obsessive on the analytics that comes back, doing an A/B testing throughout, they may not only help you with understanding where to start, but also may validate a lot of customer assumptions that you may have. And you really don't want to go on platforms like Amazon before you nail this down. Because these are platforms that you should be very clear about what you're doing and who you're doing it for first.
And just a quick note, from a budget perspective, we've found typically most of our startups that have launched and are selling millions of dollars of product a month, they spend between 20 and 25% of their net revenue on marketing, and that is what basically drives all of their further sales. So just as a benchmark, that can oftentimes be a helpful number to keep in mind. So if you're getting $100 for each sale, think about spending about 20 to 25 of those dollars on getting future sales. And if you get there, you're optimized to a pretty good degree.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other, question? No other questions? Oh, hi.
This is for everyone. What are like the biggest frustrations or stumbling blocks that you guys typically run into with the companies you work with?
That they don't like me because I'm bald.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I know. That's the biggest stumbling block I have.
That's the best answer we're gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know
so
if I can
the
top
biggest,
that, yeah.
biggest stumbling block.
I mean, I would say for us, since we're working with very early stage hardware products, it's just that they don't work. Honestly, I mean, that's maybe an oversimplified answer, but really, we oftentimes get demos of products and the pitch is great, and then we get to the demo and, oh, this never happens, it doesn't work, but it's we really, want to make sure that your product does exactly what you say that it does. I think it's something that's really simple, but overall, across the board of the products that we sell in our stores, the ones that sell the best are the ones who you can do that demo every single time and the demo never breaks. It just really, it builds kind of that trust with consumers, and so I think that's kind of our number one beef is it's just got to work.
Is also part of just making something simple? Is that or is that not?
I think that's part of it. I think a lot of hardware products are, we're 8 things in one. We can turn off your lights and we can cut your hair and we can do this and that. And
it's a platform.
It's a platform for hair and shoes and all sorts of different things. But
lifestyle platform.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think doing one thing really well as opposed to doing 9 things is definitely a good way to do that. But also just making sure that you spend 6 cents on that one component instead of 3 cents, right? It makes a big difference that you actually just take care to make a product that's solid and is going to work really well. So kind of 2 components there. Yeah.
I have 2 answers. The first is the obvious one, which is cash flow. That's always the biggest issue, especially when it comes to hardware and the need for inventory dollars. There's so many issues that come up with that. I would say that the real issue is, or the issue that isn't the obvious one, is a lot of teams I see, once the product is ready and the bugs are fixed and it's ready to go, they don't make that pivot fast enough to being a marketing organization. Once you make a physical product, that's great. You're no longer an engineering firm. You're now a marketing firm. And if you don't make that pivot fast enough, there's just no future for your product. So that's where you put that engineering talent to good use, make some dashboards, and just let them run with it, and incentivize them to sell product.
I would say for us, it's the startups that we work with not owning their business, right? They come onto Amazon and we'll give them these tools for free as a part of our program and say, here's how you drive your business, and they don't utilize them, and then they come back to us and say, hey, we're not successful, and I go to their page and they have no reviews, and we offered them 30 free reviews from a Vine reviewer, and they haven't filled out the enhanced content that we gave them and put a video on their product page. And I think that's the most frustrating thing, where we offer our startups one-on-one office hours, and dialing into office hours and not having anyone be there and saying, you have a dedicated resource at Amazon that's going to give you 15 minutes of their time. It's very rare. So that's probably the most frustrating thing for us, is saying you want to be successful, then own your business. And when we see people investing in their business on Amazon, we're 10 times more likely to help them when they're struggling.
I think that my angle is very similar to what Jenna mentioned, because we feel that sometimes magic happens within an hour or a day, and the magic happens because there is an aha moment that we feel that people really started to see things they haven't seen before, and they are now focused at actionable actions. But we don't necessarily have the ability right now, the visibility to what happens with them a month later or 3 months later. And that's what we want to improve on, do a better follow-up with the partners and with the mentors, because we feel that sometime down the road it's lost in translation, and we lose the impact that a good execution could have bring to the startups.
Okay, so that's going to be our last question. Thank you. And so we're going to end here in a minute, but before we do, maybe you want to go back through and just say, what's one thing you want people to do, and then also do say where to go for, each of your platform for them.
Not that I haven't said this enough, but my one piece of advice is focus on marketing so that you generate sell-through when you become a sales organization. And our next batch of companies in San Francisco will start May 9th. So we're open for applications now. So if you are a hardware startup that's looking to start selling, or know one that is, let them know. The program is called Hacks Boost. And again, my name is Kate, and I'm the director of that program.
And you spell it for them,
HAX.
There you go.
Yeah, I definitely need to spell out mine, because it's B8TA.
We used to have an 8 in our name too.
Yeah,
Cut it.
Yeah, BETA was just too expensive when we were starting the company, so we had to go with an 8. But yeah, I mean, for us, we're opening stores all the time. We'll open between 6 and 8 locations this year, so we'll have around 10 beta stores across the country by the end of the year. We're always looking for new and innovative products, so the easiest way to get in touch with us is beta.com/sell. It gives kind of an overview of our program and how to get involved. And then in terms of, I really like something that Dan said earlier in terms of what you should do if you're a hardware startup. Figure out what problem you're solving. I think that's a big thing. People make buying decisions based on, a lot of fixing a problem in their life. Our best-selling product is tile in terms of units. Everyone's lost their keys a bunch of times, right? So they solved a problem and they did it really well, and the product sells like crazy. So figure out what problem you're solving would be kind of the one leave behind for me.
I would say if you get access to great resources or great advice, take advantage of it, be open to it, and especially sometimes from large companies, right? Like, they're on your side, they're invested in the success of your business, so take that advice when you have the opportunity to get it. I'm Jenna with Amazon Launchpad, amazonlaunchpad.com. Just click on Are You a Startup, and you can apply.
Yeah, so I think that the best advice is to remember that beyond the big words of strategy and the other buzzwords, I think the most important thing is execution, and you should channel all your thinking. Even when you think about big words as strategy, it should start from execution and the small details. That's what actually validates, and that's what actually brings success. Because even if you fail and you are focused at execution, then you fail fast and you correct yourself. And that's what our mentorship program is all about at the end of the day. You can Google Launchpad. We have a Launchpad space here in San Francisco that is kind of 24/7 running activities and events with many partners. If you believe that you can that you want to work with us as a mentor, that's great. Please talk to me. If you have any activities that you do yourself across the United States, I would love to hear from you beyond just the Silicon Valley, because we potentially can partner. And if you're a startup, then using our resources and the website, you can find out which activities we have and with which partners. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah, so if you go to Google Launchpad San Francisco, you'll go to their website. They'll have calendar of events, and they're free. And
Right.
you can just go to the Google in San Francisco and go to their free events, and through that see if there's a program that might be right for you.
And that's just to add. I think that in many cases you may be frustrated. You are using some kind of a Google platform like the Maps or Firebase or Cloud, and you need more resources. So beyond the online resources, we have a lot of events that connect you with the product teams and actually can help you build your own product on these platforms.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for attending and being here.
Thank you.